Hi everyone, it's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel. I am super excited for today's video because it is on a very, very highly requested topic, and that is shipping liquids. So the consensus is that you guys really love and appreciate the videos that I do all about shipping, but it does seem like on every single video that I have about shipping where I've demonstrated shipping something that is a liquid, that there's a lot of misinformation that gets put down in the comment section about what is and what is not allowed to go different mail services. Because I feel like there is so much misinformation out there and it seems like a lot of people don't really understand some rules and regulations, I wanted to do a video only talking about shipping liquids. That way you can feel a little bit more comfortable when it comes to selling and shipping items that might leak in transit. So in this video, I'm not gonna just sit here and read you the United States Postal Service memos about the rules and regulations of shipping ground versus shipping air. That is just boring. I am not about living that life. So instead, I'm just going to tell you what I know, what I've had confirmed by numerous Postal Service workers, as well as multiple postmasters that I've spoken to, and through years of experience shipping items that can leak. I just want to tell you what I know and demonstrate for you how exactly I ship these certain items, and any memos or policies will be linked down in the video description so that you can go check the sources for yourself. So if you hear me say something that doesn't sound exactly right, if you look down in the video description, I will have all applicable links so that you can double check yourself. Because remember, not everything that you hear on the internet is true. So I have got an entire bin here full of stuff so that I can do some demos for you guys and tell you everything that I know about shipping liquids safely. Before I go any further, I want to address the comment that I see the most frequently that is spreading the most amount of misinformation when it comes to shipping liquids. And that is, liquids cannot be shipped priority mail. Liquids must go ground shipping only. This is 100% false. Liquids can go airmail. They can be shipped using a priority mail shipping service. Liquids are not obligated to only going ground transit. I feel like there's a real misunderstanding here because what is true is that liquid flammables cannot go air or priority mail. Liquid flammables must go ground. So if you have a liquid that will not catch on fire, it's okay to send priority mail or first class. Now that does not mean that you could just take an item that is liquid, throw it in a poly mailer and ship it and have that be okay. There are certain things that you have to do to your packages in order to ensure safe transit if you're shipping liquids. This is one of the reasons why the postal clerk will ask you if you have anything liquid, perishable, prohibited, or hazardous in your package when you drop it off. It's not because shipping liquids is prohibited, but rather they want to ensure that if you are shipping liquids, that your item is properly packaged. Now, sometimes postal workers like to put certain stickers or certain markings on packages that have liquids inside of them, but in my personal experience, that's not necessarily the case. If I've ever been to the post office and I have a postal worker ask me if something is liquid inside of there, if I tell them yes, all they do is ask me if I've properly packaged the item in a baggie. After I tell them yes, they say okay, and they move on with everything else. They don't even put a special sticker on my package. So just because they're asking you if you have liquids in there doesn't mean that they're trying to catch you shipping a prohibited item. So the proper way to ship an item that contains liquids is to properly enclose the item in a baggie to prevent leaks and then to put some sort of packaging inside your package to absorb any leaks that might occur during transit. They also state that any liquid item must be shipped in its original container. That means if you're shipping a bottle of shampoo, it needs to be in the original bottle. You cannot dump liquid out into a baggie and ship it on its own. It needs to be in its original packaging. Something else that you need to do is you need to make sure that the item is properly secured so that no squishing is involved, because as soon as something that has liquids in it is squished, you run the risk of the item bursting and all of the liquids leaking out everywhere. So they want you to have packaging within the package to make sure that it can absorb liquids. They want you to have things in baggies to keep it from leaking out, but the ultimate prevention is making sure that your package is properly reinforced so that the item does not get squished and it does not end up leaking out all over the place. So now I'm going to show you how I personally package items that have liquids involved. I'm going to show you the different ways that I package these items to ensure that they do not leak. So now before I get into demoing how I package liquid items, I want to reassure you that I have lots of experience with doing this. I have been shipping on eBay for over a decade. Couple of years of that has been strictly selling health and beauty, which involves a lot of liquid items. And it seems like every single day I have at least one package that contains liquids. And I am happy to report that I rarely, if ever, have anything leak. So I am extremely confident in my ability to ship liquids and have it arrive safely to the buyer. And if you like this kind of video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button. That lets me know that you appreciate that I take this time to help all of you out. And remember to subscribe and ring the notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post new content. All right, let me show you what I do. Okay. This is a lot better lit than my shipping table downstairs, which is why I'm doing it up here. Although there is something messy here. Hopefully you guys can't see that. So the very first thing you need to make sure that you have on hand when you're shipping liquids is you need to have some sort of a baggie. Postal clerks usually recommend Ziploc bags. However, I personally think Ziploc bags look a little bit tacky for buyers to receive, and they also start to get expensive. I have been using these for years. 4 years ago on my YouTube channel, I was talking about these. These are the Great Value twist tie bags. I always call them bread bags, but they're actually called twist tie bags. You can find these at Walmart in the aisle with the Ziploc bags. You get 100 in a box, and it's only about, here it's $3.12 for a box of 100, so 3 cents a piece. And these work just fine. They're not super duper thick, but they are thick enough to hold in any liquids in the event that they do leak. I have personally tested that. So you will need some sort of baggie. Highly recommend these. I've been using them for years. So now I want to talk about the different kinds of containers that can leak. So all of these have liquids in them. You have bottles like this that just have the little snap up. These I do not worry about taping down. Same thing with these flip top bottles, I do not worry about taping down. The twist ones, where that twist, I do not worry about. These are the only ones that I tape down, because these pumps, what ends up happening is if this turns even a little bit, and that has been known to happen to me during transit, if this turns even a little bit, this pump goes pop, and it pops up here, and then the minute it starts moving around, it just starts pumping and leaking everything out. So when it comes to these, I will tape down this little pump nozzle, but all of these I've never had any issues with, so I wouldn't feel the need to tape these down at all. But what I will do is I will just take some tape. I will just take some tape and just tape it down like this. Because what's going to happen is it's going to keep this from turning. And if it does turn and the pump does try to pop open, it's going to keep the pump in its place. You see how that works? So this is going to keep that pump from leaking. All of these other ones, it would actually take some force to pop that open, so I've never had issue with that, but pumps, you definitely want to make sure you tape down just like this. Then the next thing that you're going to do is you are going to stick it in the baggie. I always wrap the baggie very, very tightly around it, and I knot it. And I just pull it into a knot. So now if it leaks, everything will be confined to the bag. And now let's talk about packaging. You don't want the pump to break. You don't want to crack the base, because that's a big thing that can happen. If something like this gets dropped, there can get a crack in the bottle itself, and then it might not leak from the pump, but it will leak from the crack. So you want to make sure that anything that is shipped that has liquids in it, you have reinforced. I want to say 99 times out of 100, anything that has liquids, I always put in some sort of a box. Something small like this does not have to go in a giant box. I really love small boxes. They are not super expensive if you're buying them in bulk. I think I usually spend about 15 cents per box. This one is an 8-inch by 4-inch by 3-inch box. This one is an 8 by 6 by 4. This 8-inch by 4-inch by 3-inch box is by far my favorite small box because it fits so many of the small items that I ship, including things like shampoos. Here's that little box I'll put together. Now, this is not good reinforcement because it moves too much. Something to remember about shipping liquids is the more it can move, the more chances it has to leak. You also have to remember that rule that I mentioned at the very beginning, where you are allowed to ship liquids as long as it's bagged and as long as there's something else inside the box to help absorb the liquids. So this is where packing paper comes into play. So what I will do is I will get this item bagged, and then I will simply wrap it in packing paper. And now that's ready to ship. I think this weighs about 15 ounces or so. So this could still go first class. So that is the first way that I will package up liquids. Then of course, I can't do this video and not mention my shipping hack when it comes to using flat rate envelopes. I always tell you guys about the 1096L boxes that fit perfectly into the regular flat rate envelopes. This is the perfect way to ship heavy items and still get the lowest possible rate. When you do it this way, as long as it fits inside this little box and you can put that in a regular flat rate envelope, you're going to be paying roughly $6.94, depending on when you're viewing this video, if rates have gone up or not. You will be paying only $6.94, and you can ship something like 2 bottles of shampoo, or you can ship 3 or 4 items if they're small enough. This is by far my favorite way to ship heavy liquids. I have a video where I talk about it in extensive detail. I'll link it up here in the iCards if you missed my shipping heavy items video. But I will also use these boxes if this is going priority mail. So I wanted to demonstrate shipping glass bottles the way I like to ship them, but because I didn't have any glass, we're just gonna have to pretend like these 2 plastic bottles are glass. I did used to ship food items in glass all of the time. I actually have an old shipping video where I demonstrated that, but I wanted to do a new updated one to show you how to ship multiple glass bottles or single glass bottles together without them breaking. This one involves bubble wrap. So pretend like we bagged these. I'm not gonna do it because I don't wanna waste all my bags, but pretend like I've already bagged these. Both of these are gonna be bagged just like I would. What I do is I will just lay them in bubble wrap and I will just roll them once over so that it's like this, and then I will put another one next to it. Continue to roll. Remember, these should be bagged already. and I will roll them over so they're still together without taking up a ton of space, and they're separated by some bubbles. And then from there, I just take some tape. And remember, we want them to be together and not move, because the more opportunities things have to move, the more opportunities they have to squeeze or be shifted around and leak. So now these items are properly secured together. But now let's talk about how to properly ship glass items or liquid items if you don't have a small box. Small boxes are very, very handy. However, I have been in the position where I did not have any left and I needed something that would reinforce a package to prevent it from breaking or leaking. So let's say you're wanting to ship something in a padded flat rate envelope or just a standard bubble mailer. So if you had something like this and you just put it in the bag, I would not be 100% confident that this is reinforced enough to keep it from breaking. Because remember I said, you don't have to just worry about the nozzles breaking and leaking. You have to worry about the body of the container cracking and leaking somewhere else. If you do your due diligence and keep the top from leaking, it's going to be irrelevant if you get a crack. If this gets dropped in some way, if it gets a crack here, you want to make sure it's reinforced. And if you don't have any small boxes handy, that's when I will just use scraps of cardboard. So if you have a big box that you received an order in and maybe the box is starting to fall apart, I like to keep scraps of cardboard, because what you can do is you can actually fashion bits of cardboard around your item to ensure that it's reinforced. You can actually do something like this, take a razor and cut it to fit, and then tape this. See what I did there? I just took the cardboard, I put a piece of cardboard on the top and the bottom. I taped around all the sides. So now, even though this is technically not going in a box, it is still properly reinforced. So if something happens and it gets dropped, the cardboard is going to absorb most of the impact and leave the items inside unharmed. So I use scrap cardboard all the time to reinforce packages if they're not going inside of a box. So then you would just slide it right in to your priority padded envelope. If you did not have any of those 1096Ls, or if you found that it was too big, it didn't fit in a regular flat rate, you could fashion your cardboard around it and slide it right into a padded flat rate envelope, and it would have the same protection as if it was shipped in a box, and you can get the better rate by doing the flat rate packaging. And then the last thing I wanted to talk to you about was stickers. So there are actually two different kinds of stickers, and I wanted to make sure to point out the correct and the incorrect ones. So I do not, let me preface this by saying I do not ever use these stickers. But I know that a lot of people feel more comfortable shipping liquids if there are stickers. So these stickers do not result in an extra charge. These just fragile handle with care stickers. There are fragile stickers that will result in you getting charged extra, or your buyer getting charged extra. These are not them. The ones that will get you charged extra specifically say special handling. If you want to use fragile stickers, do not get the ones that say special handling, because if you do, you will be charged for it. But you can opt to use regular fragile stickers as long as it doesn't say special handling on there, and there will be no additional fee. I don't think that these really do anything, if I'm being honest, but if it makes you feel better, you can use them. Just make sure it doesn't say special handling or you'll have to pay more. All right, you guys, I hope that you found this video useful. Again, if you liked it, please do hit the thumbs up. That lets me know that you like it, and it also lets YouTube know that other people might find it helpful. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to check the video description. I will put any applicable links down in there for you to reference policies for yourself. And as always, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and ring the notification bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post new content. Thank you guys again so much for watching. I will see you with my next video. Bye-bye.